Hello, dear chess friends. I'm FIDE Master Aleksa Alimpic from Serbia, and I would like to welcome you to my new video course for the chess world, the 20 days calculation challenge. I'm really glad to have you here. This course is all about one of the most important skills in chess. You can probably guess what it is. It's calculation. So most coaches and books will tell you you need to work on tactics, you need to improve your calculation skills, but they almost never explain how much to do, what kind of exercises to solve, and how to structure your training. That is what makes this course different. I have created a clear plan that will guide you step by step so you always know exactly what to do each day. So, probably some of you guys go to the gym, so I will give you one example. Think of it like going to the gym. If you want to build strong back muscles, you don't just do one exercise. You do a few exercises, lat pull downs, deadlifts, plenty of them. And each one targets the muscles in a different way. The same is true for chess calculation. That's why this program is divided into three parts every day. First part is warm up. These are your light sets, like warming up in the gym. They get your brain ready, build your speed, and help you recognize simple patterns. Uh, we'll do 5 exercises of warm up. Then we have pure calculation. We'll solve 7 positions each day. This is the heavy lifting. Here you go deep, think carefully, and calculate variations with full focus. This is like doing your main workout where you really build your strength. And the last but not the least, expanding horizons. We will do 1 position a day of these exercises. These are special and unusual exercises, I would say. They work like accessory lifts in the gym, not only making you stronger, but also more flexible, creative, I would say, and able to see positions from new angles. The training is designed to last for 20 days. Each day you will solve 13 positions. So here I can give you a few tips before we start. I recommend setting these exercises up on a real chessboard. This feels more like a real game and helps you focus better. Always write down your answers before checking the solution, just like in a real game, where you have to commit to a move. And also, I want to share something important. I have personally solved all of these exercises, and wherever I made a mistake, I marked it. So this way, you can compare your own answers and your thinking process to mine and see how your score develops over time. So this is not just about getting the answer right or Wrong, it's about learning how to think, where mistakes can appear, and how to avoid them in the future. This challenge is not just a set of puzzles, it's a structured workout for your chess mind and your calculational improvement. Be patient, stay curious, and let's begin of day one. As I said, we will start with warm-up exercises, so lighter work just to warm you up and get used to patterns. So here it's black to play, and also one very important note I want to tell you. I would like you to set a timer before each exercise. So these warm-up exercises, you need to solve them in time between 3 to 5 minutes a position, no more than that, because this is a warm-up exercise. You don't want to spend too much time on it, and it should be light work. You should be able to solve this. Then, for pure calculation exercises, you should spend between 10 to 12 minutes because it's really a hard work. You will need to calculate a lot, so uh, usually between 10 to 12 minutes is good. You should not spend more time than that because after certain amount of time, your brain won't find anything. It will just recalculate every line that you have already calculated. So you will just waste time. And for studies, you should spend around 15 minutes because they're tough. You would need to look at the position from different angles. So it takes around 15 minutes to solve a study in this course. So we can begin with exercises. This is a warm-up exercise, so you have 3 to 5 minutes to solve it. It's black to play. On this display, you can see on the bottom right corner the color. Here I'm pointing it out. So here it's black, so it means it's black to play. Black to play and win. This occurred in a game between Evans and Eliskases. I hope I pronounced these names correctly, in 1952. So I want you to pause the video and try to find the solution within 3 to 5 minutes. As we can see, this is an endgame. We need to calculate material. We have 4 pawns versus 4 pawns, though we have a passed pawn on the b file. Meanwhile, white has his passed pawn on d file. So usually it's a race who is faster here. And he who can promote the queen first will win the game. When solving tactical exercises, you should take a look at forcing moves. I talked a lot about it in my previous course on the chess world, so you can check it out too. Forcing moves are checks, captures, and threats. They are most forcing moves, most obvious moves, and you should calculate them first. Here, of course, you need to see what is your opponent's idea too, just to have idea what's going on the board. So we check forcing moves. One of them is b5 check, the other is bishop takes d5 check. We need to compare these options and to calculate till the end to make sure what's the evaluation of the position. Here the best move is pawn to b5 check. White's king is forced to get to c5, otherwise he will lose the d5 bishop. And now we take on d5. So what did we get by playing b5 check? First is that we pushed this pawn with a tempo, with a check. So we gained one tempo and we push our passed pawn. Of course, you should have calculated all this from the beginning without moving pieces on the board. That way you will also work on your visualization. That is a big factor in when calculating lines. So no moving pieces on the board, just board in front of you, a piece of paper where you write down your solutions, and a timer. King a4, preparing b3, and uh, black wins this race. King a3, d6, b2, d7, we go b1 queen, we promote the queen. White also manages to promote his queen, so it looks like the position is equal, but again we look for forcing moves, and we have this very nice check, forcing White's king to get on the d file when we have another check, pinning White's king, and queen in black wins the game. So this is a warm-up exercise, pretty straightforward. It's about checks, captures, and vision. So let's get to the next warm-up exercise. Here it's white to play, as you can see in this right bottom corner. Here is white color, so it's white to play. Let me flip the board. So this position I got wrong, I have to be honest. Even though it's warm-up exercise, um, it doesn't mean it's easy. So we need to evaluate the position to see our opponent's idea. Clearly, he is threatening queen c2 mate. The most obvious move is to play e takes d4, which is a correct move. But after cd4, here is a key move of this position. So here I made a mistake. I went for bishop to b4, which actually loses the game due to rook takes c4 check, king b1, and here I stopped my process of calculation and um, I saw the time up a piece. I should be fine, but I missed rook to c2. Very important move when uh, white is not able to defend the pawn on b2, so white is losing on the spot. Instead, what is better is, of course, forcing move, um, threat, rook to h1. We are not worried about our bishop. Instead, we go for counterattack and we attack black's queen. Black has to move this queen away. f2 is the only square. And again, take a look at forcing moves. It's not bishop b4, it will be the same story again, but rook takes h7. We sacrifice the rook for the pawn, though in return we ruin black's king safety. And after king h7 we have queen e7 check, king g8, queen to e6 check, again check, king g7, rook f7 is not possible due to queen takes c8, so king g7, queen d7 check, king g8, and rook h1, threatening mate on h7. It's unstoppable. Black can take on f4 with a check, though we just move the king and there is no way to stop queen to h7 mate. So very long line, though very forcing. All of these moves were either captures or checks, so uh, it's not as hard as it looks when you see the number of moves. Let's get to the next position. It's white to play. This occurred in uh, John Nunn Arkamia Grant in 1997. It's white to play. So as you can see, black's king is very lonely. It has no pieces around. Meanwhile, we have a queen and two rooks looking at our opponent's king, so this is a sign that there should be some tactic. Of course, c2 pawn also isn't protected well, though we should take a look at forcing moves first. So let's do it. Here, g6 is the best move. Simply attacking h7 pawn and threatening to take it. H takes g6. In case of h6, we have a mate in 2. We have queen to f7 check, king h8, rook takes h6, excuse me, mate in 3. G takes h6 and queen h7. So let me demonstrate it to you. We take and queen h7, checkmate. So that's why h takes g6 is forced. And here there is only one move that gives us winning chances, and I think this is a key move of this exercise. It's not rook takes g6, which may seem obvious. It's not working due to tactical reasons, and I want you to stop the video and to see why rook takes g6 is not working. It's very instructive. Of course, if we're a strong player, we will play strong players, and our opponent will uh, take a look at forcing moves too. So our opponent will check possible checks. Queen takes c2. Yes, it looks like black is sacrificing a material, though uh, at the end he has bishop e4 check, giving a check and attacking the rook on g6. So that's why rook takes g6 is not working, but instead, very strong move is rook to f1, threatening queen to f7, checkmate. So in this case, if black takes on c2, he achieves nothing. We get the material. We win the material. Though this is the only way to prevent checkmate in one. So what can black do? Here, white is up material and winning. So g6, ag6, and rook f1 key move. Let's get to the next position. Here it's white to play. So as you can see, there are not many pieces on the board, though black's dark squares around black's king uh, look vulnerable. He is really missing the dark square bishop, and this pawn on f6 is really strong, so this should give us some instructions what to do, and that we should take advantage of weak dark squares. So the best move here is queen to e3, just threatening queen h6 and queen g7 mate. Black can try two moves, though he is lost after both of them. Let's take a look at queen takes b2. So we are not able to play queen h6 due to queen takes f6. But we have one very nice tactical idea, tactical pattern that's called blockade. We play rook to c3, blockading black's queen access to f6, and now really threatening this checkmate. So in case of queen c3, we just take queen c3 and white is winning. Instead, king h8 is possible too. So the idea is to meet queen h6 with rook to g8. Anyways, we can go for it. And here we have one very strong move. It's rook to c3. We should include all of our pieces into attack. So rook h3 is on agenda. Actually, the threat is queen takes h7 and then rook h3 mate by force. So rook b3 makes sense, not allowing us to play rook h3, but now there is another very typical pattern. Black's back rank is weak, so we can make use of that and play rook to c8 when queen g7 is unstoppable. Very similar occurred in a game, I think it was played between David Navarra and Anand, Wish Anand, in a recent rapid event, rapid team championship. Yeah, something like that. The same pattern. So even top level players miss basic patterns. Let's go to the next position. Here it's white to play. So you should ask yourself, what is my opponent's idea always? Um, Here our queen is under attack by black's bishop. What forcing moves do we have? Well, the most obvious one is queen takes h6, uh, taking the bishop, though it will allow queen takes c3, and that's the critical line that should be calculated. So I want you to set this position on the real chessboard and to solve it without moving pieces. Even if you know, okay, queen takes h6 for sure is a move and then queen takes c3 is the only move. It's better if you not move pieces and try to visualize moves in your head. But anyways, let's check the solution. By the way, this occurred in Bachman Onishchuk, in Zala Karos in 2014. Queen takes h6. So we not only took black's piece, but we are also attacking g6 and h7 pawns. Queen takes c3, king d1, queen takes a1, this is all forced, king d2, queen h1, and here we have f takes g6. And here, yes, we are down 2 rooks, but these checkmate threats are unstoppable. Queen takes h7, there is no way that black can stop us. So a sample line could be queen takes g2, check. We can block it with the knight. And after h takes g6, we have bishop takes g6. When queen h7 is about to follow next. So very forcing line, again, nothing special, just to warm up your brain a little bit. Let's go to the next position. Now we come to heavy work, pure calculation. So for this exercise and next exercises, you have between 10 and 12 minutes. Here it's black to play. Again, you need to evaluate the position, see what your opponent's idea, and check forcing moves. Here, the most obvious forcing move is f takes e3, taking this knight. King takes h3 is not possible due to e2, so it's check and discovered attack. After rook g3, we can just take with the queen on g3 and then take on d1 when black is winning. So instead, rook f4 is quite tricky actually. When I was calculating this position, rook f4 didn't even cross my mind. But anyways, I was able to find the best move. So again, you should ask yourself, what is my opponent's idea? It is a mate on the back rank with rook f8. And here you should not go for king b8. That was my first candidate, because this gives white many counter-attacking chances, and here actually white is winning after rook f8 check, king to a7, and queen d8, threatening mate on a8. So instead, we should play knight to g6, not allowing black to get access to the back rank. And the line continues with queen g4, king b8, queen g6. Though here we have e2 when this pawn promotion is unstoppable. Anyways, we should not end the line here. We should dive deeper. For example, after rook f8, king a7, white can try queen e8, threatening mate. So all this you should have seen on move 1, without moving pieces. But here we have only one move, but the one move that gives white checkmate. You may not see it immediately, but the best move is e1 promotion to knight. We promote with a check. And after king g1, we have mate in 3, rook h1 check, king h1, queen h3, and queen to g2, checkmate. So this is how pure calculation exercise looks like. Let's go to the next exercise. Here, again, it's black to play. You need to spot your opponent's idea as usual and then take a look at forcing moves. So I want you to pause the video and try to find the best move. We see a very obvious forcing move, that is queen takes e1. It's check and capture. We grab material. But bishop f1 here is a key move for this exercise. Our opponent is threatening to take on g7 and give checkmate. So we must defend against this threat. Queen e5 makes some sense to bring the queen back and protect the king, though this runs into knight h6. Discovered attack. It's a check by the knight and the queen is hanging. So it's not queen e5. Then what crossed my mind is, well, now let's play queen a1. This is the other way to protect g7. But actually this runs into knight h6, check, king h8, and knight f7. And this leads to a draw. We cannot take on f7 due to queen takes d8. We are forced to play king g8, but after knight h6, this is a repetition of moves. So then I was like, okay, queen a1 is not working. I have to get into complications that arise after g6. This is the best move though. Knight h6 check, king h8, king g7 is something that I also calculated, but this is not working because knight f5, king h8 is bad because white has queen h6. Threatening queen g7, we are forced to take on f5 and then rook h3. And checkmate is unstoppable. So king g7 is also not working. Instead, we have to go for king h8. And after knight f7, only then king g7. When knight takes d8 is not possible, since f2 is hanging, and actually it turns out that white's king is in danger. There is one interesting move that I also calculated. It's rook takes d5. So what happens after this? We have only one move that wins the game. Um, our opponent's idea is to play queen f6 and to checkmate us. So we need to fight against this idea, and we do that by f6, with f6, not allowing white to play queen f6. Checkmate and also attacking the queen at the same time when black is winning. So let's get to the next exercise. Here it's white to play. This one I got wrong too. Uh, so at the very beginning, we have a few candidate moves. Of course, you should take a look at forcing moves first. Here, my move was pawn to g4, and my idea was to threaten both knight c5 and knight g5 when black will uh, find it very difficult to save the queen. But there is one resource where black actually manages to save his queen. Anyways, at the end of the line, white is winning, but there is something way stronger than this move. Here, black can play pawn to c5, and if we take on c5, he can get his queen, get it to safety to b6 when, yes, white is winning, though black has some compensation for it, like he has, he will castle short, he has some faster development, and our king won't feel really safe here because of some weaknesses, but white is winning. There is something way stronger. Of course, it's a forcing move. It's knight to g5, attacking the queen on e6. Queen f5 is forced, and here we play double exclamation mark move, pawn to g3, threatening bishop to h3, and this move is unstoppable. For example, after something like d5, we can play bishop to h3 and white is winning. So let's go to the next exercise. Here it's white to play. So we need to evaluate the position. We have queen versus rook, and this strong passed pawn. So we should take the momentum and try to make use of these assets. This occurred in a game between Notkin and Lerner in St. Petersburg in 1996. Of course, I mean, we start with forcing moves. So very logical is queen to a8, which I found too. Queen to d4 was my candidate move, and it's also winning, though this allows black to play rook e1, after queen d6, rook h1, when rook d1 is a threat, and after we allow black to promote the queen. We have a winning endgame, though we need to play extra 20 moves to win the game. Instead, we go for check, queen a8 check, king g7, queen d8. So rook e1. This is the main resource for black to try to take this bishop and then promote the queen. Of course, we need to take a look at forcing moves. Queen takes d6 is forcing move, it's a capture. In case of rook h1, we have queen e5 check, king g8, queen e8 check, king g7 and queen e2. When we attack this pawn on h2 and not allow black to play rook to d1. And also, why giving these checks on e5 and e8 were so important. Yeah, they were important because we forced black king to get to g7. So after rook c1, which would be the main resource for black, if he manages to take this pawn, the position would be equal. But here we have queen to b2 check and attacking the rook on c1. So this is the reason why including queen e8 and queen e5 was so important. Also after rook d1, here we have king to c2, and after rook takes d6, we can play pawn to c7 when c8 promotion to queen is unstoppable. So let's get to the next position. This one is a bit easier, I would say. So again, set your timer from 10 to 12 minutes. It's white to play. As we can see, we have many pieces staring at black's king, so we should make use of it. Knight takes f7 is the best move. Queen h5 is also interesting and wins the game too. Though this is not the most forcing way to win the game. Knight takes f7 is more forcing and I like it more because of that. King takes f7 and now we play queen to h5 check. So again black is forced to move his king, g6 is not possible due to f takes g6 with discovered check. So king g8 and we have queen takes c8. So white here wins the material and the game very soon. Let's get to the next position. Here it's black to play. This one was very tough, I remember, because black has too many candidate moves. So at the beginning, black can take on f8 with the rook, with the queen. We can give a check on c3, we can give a check on a3, maybe pawn to b2. Is this a good inclusion or not? So too many candidate moves, and it takes some time and effort to calculate all of them. This occurred in Weikanze in 1990, uh, in the game between Dr. John Nunn and the Koyan. It's black to play. Here, Queen c3 is the best move and the only move that wins the game. Instead, so if we take on f8 either with the rook or with the queen, white can respond with pawn to e7 in both cases. So rook f8, pawn to e7. Queen a3 check is something that I considered for a long time, but I realized that there is nothing after king b1, b takes a2, king a1. Now I try to take on f8 and to be able to meet e7 with some check on g7 or h8. But anyways, this is lost after rook b2 check, very good move. So we have to move the king and white is winning here. We'll take on d8 or c7 depending where we move our king. Instead queen c3 is the best move. So king b1 the only move. Now queen to d3 check, again a very important check, and in both cases, after king c1 and king a1, we have queen d3, queen d1 check. So king a1, queen d1 check, we take on e2, and then we take on f8. So we managed to take both of white's rooks, all with tempo, with checks. So this is the solution of this position. Let's go to the next exercise. Here it's white to play. Um, so this one is not very long. This position is more about choosing uh, the candidate move. So as you can see, we have a rook and two pawns for two minor pieces. As you can see, uh, black's king is not very safe, and his bishop on e6 is not very well protected. We attack it two times and he defends it two times, so it could be a target. Of course, we check all forcing moves. We take a look at checks. I checked queen d8, I believe, and I saw it's not working, so I moved to captures and threats, and one of the threats is bishop to h6. Threatening to take on g7, remove the defender of the bishop on e6. So this is another typical tactical pattern, removal of defense. And black is not able to defend this bishop properly. The engine suggests to play knight f5, but after queen e6, queen takes e6, rook takes e6, white is winning, for example, king f7 and pawn to d5, defending the rook, and white is winning. So let's jump to the next position, and we go to a study. This is mate in 2, white to play. So let me give you some tips for how to solve mate in 2 studies. We need to analyze the position. We need to look at the board to understand the rules of each piece and to identify potential escape squares for the enemy king. Then we need to envision the final position. We should try to visualize a position where we would deliver checkmate on the next move. And of course, in these studies and problems, usually, most of the time, the first move is quiet move, meaning it is not check, capture, or threat. But instead, it sets up a final checkmate. Of course, we need to calculate forcing moves next. So in this position, black's king is on a4 in the corner. It has access to b3 and b5 squares. Most of his pawns are blocked and they can't move except the f pawn and a takes b5. So we should think about this. And we should try to visualize the final position, or as I said, how to deliver a checkmate. So as we can see, we would most probably like to be able to meet king takes b3 with some bishop d1 or knight c5, where we will give a check and also take a4 under the control so that black won't be able to get back on a4. And we would also like to be able to respond to king b5 with also some discovered tracks or however. Now also we need to understand the role of each piece. So you should ask yourself, well, what is my rook on h4 really doing here? What is he meant to do here? Because in these studies, they're art too, and uh, their composers um, made sure that every piece here makes sense, has some role in the position. And as you can probably assume, uh, the rook can potentially pin black's king and allow us to do some discovered checks. Now, what's this bishop doing here? Well, uh, this bishop is blocking the rook on h4. We would like to move it. And let's see what happens after we play bishop f5. This move also makes sense since we put our opponent into zugzwang. Here black is not able to push f5, his only reasonable move, and he's forced to move his king. And suddenly, after king takes b5, we have knight c3 mate. Why is this working now? It's working because black can't take the knight on c4. It's protected by our rook. And thanks to our first move, bishop f5. Now, let's see what happens after king b3. We don't have bishop d1 resource. That was one of our ideas. But instead we have knight takes c5. It's checkmate. Why? Again, this rook protects the knight on c4 and also black's king can't go to c2 thanks to our bishop being on f5. So it takes some time and effort to solve studies like this, even though it's just mate in two, because we need to truly understand value and role of each piece in the position. And when you solve many positions like this, many checkmates in two, it will help you uh, at controlling the board, controlling your game, because you will know the value and role of each piece, what's the best square for it, and also in thinking. So this was day one. See you tomorrow.